Good morning. We are in out to the west. You'll notice these temperatures to the east of us are, in the 20s, lower 30s. And then back to the west, they're, up in the 40s. So, no, nothing frozen. There's not going to be anything like that. And there's fortunately nothing that is severe in any way. We did find out that even last weekend, we were in a 5% chance range of severe weather. And boy, howdy, it was some 5%. There's unfortunately 6 fatalities between Clarksville and Madison area, which were extremely tragic, and a lot of devastation. A lot of folks with a lot of inconvenience. It's been amazing to see how quickly they have gotten power restored to much of Hendersonville, considering that it went straight down Main Street. It took most everything out. I know there's a Sunbelt Rentals on Myatt Drive. Well, at least there used to be. It not there anymore. It's just gone. So it's we're very fortunate. Adam Chapman, the general manager, and no stranger to this program, was preparing to leave. He was locking the back gate, and the warning came across, so he went over to the basement in the house we have next door, along with my son and daughter, and hung out there for about an hour. The tornado, the funnel cloud, stayed up in the clouds, but it came directly over the nursery, touched down in the Bellshire area just about a mile beyond us. So we were very fortunate to escape anything that negative from that.
We need to talk to the National Weather Service and make sure that they get the computer-generated voice to read things in the order that they're headed, as opposed to the alphabetical order.
That may be that's an AI sort that they're I'm sure they're working on.
Because it scared me. I was riding on down the road. We had been counting sticks at the lumber yard all day long and things. And when Whites Creek came apart, they had been tracking the storm. So kudos to local programming on radio stations around.
Absolutely.
They did a wonderful service for
everybody. It was, I don't think anything, most things don't, I'm a roll with the punches kind of guy, but when you interject tornadoes into the equation, I got a fever blister on my lip because it's just stressful. I mean, and you're fortunate to have a lot of wonderful employees, and they live in Hendersonville and Springfield, and those are areas that
Lots of friends in the area and in the
very directly affected over in Madison area. So it's have concerns about all those around us, as I know everyone has. So anyway, it's we're fortunate to have gotten through it without anything that was of a major injury to anyone attached to us here at the nursery. I'm sure there are others out there who were less fortunate, and we hope that the recovery efforts move along swiftly. So there we are. Let's talk about who else is here. Hey, that's Tyler Blankenship right there. Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning.
The guy who's been really working on next weekend. You're going to get to see Tyler's secret project he's been working on for a couple of weeks now. So he's almost there. And so next Saturday, we're going to have a little bit different look, maybe a few different angles.
We'll be working on some new stylistic things.
Yeah. We're trying to...
we're going to be an arm's wreath of Caroline.
Well, I'd say you're still a healthy bit beyond that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Speaking of,
I have to duck. Let's have to be on my best behavior.
Go across the studio here for one final Saturday. Instead of just across the way. Austin Lowe and Caroline Gant, welcome in, guys. We're glad to have you this morning, as always.
Hi. Thank you, Tyler. There we are. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
You guys have got the festive Christmas color going on down there on your end today.
We've got the holiday theme over here.
God.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's time to get all those Christmas plants. We still got some.
Yep.
Better get in and get some.
Half of them are in the studio today.
About to say.
Oh no, I had to visit the facilities in Caroline's department over there. They got a lot of stuff left
Yeah.
over there. Some beautiful two-tone poinsettias I noticed.
Oh, yeah, those marbles.
Oh, gorgeous.
Austin doesn't like those.
You doesn't like them?
No, I love them. The pink and white ones.
Yep.
Are those the ones you're
Now, do
talking
we
about?
still
Yeah.
have the ones called glitter that actually don't have glitter on them? They are simply have speckles on the bracts, so they are the way that they should be glittered, not with actual literal glitter and glue put on there.
Correct. They have not been glitterized. No,
Yeah.
we are out of those. There are no more left. I'd say they're the most popular.
I have noticed that it seems like that's a fad that has faded pretty quickly. I don't, when you go into box stores and that kind of thing that have a lot of poinsettias, I have not noticed, let me be there, but I have not noticed the presence of a lot of actual glitter attached.
How many years have we been throwing shade and derision on that practice, David? Perhaps it's you.
From
and you-
from the outset.
yes,
I
okay,
mean, we've
so-
been consistent on that one. So anyway, it's that Christmas time of year.
Yes.
So anyway, we're welcoming you all in today, and before we get into questions, I'm sure there are things that some of us may have on our mind. So we will throw that out there first, and then we'll proceed. What you got, guys?
I mean, get out here and get your holiday plants, like we already said. I'd say this is the week to do it.
Yep.
This is our last shipment of poinsettias that we got in on Tuesday. So
There
And
you go.
not getting any more.
We also got our last shipment of live living Christmas trees.
I think that's a great segue, Tyler. Don't you think that's a
Yeah,
good segue?
sounds good.
So we got a little video that the gang put together yesterday. So Tyler is going to cue that up here and let you see what Mr. Enthusiasm himself is talking about
Yeah.
with regard to living Christmas trees.
Beautiful.
Just a
And
glimpse.
I know a lot of you are wanting to grow a living Christmas tree, and you want to come out here and get one, and you certainly can, because we still have a bunch. But a lot of people don't know how to go about getting them in and doing it. Plus, I got a good idea for you whenever we do get it in. So let's.
Tyler.
Are we watching ourselves?
We are.
We're
We're watching
I'll
ourselves.
keep
listening.
looking over here at the
Camera and
other
mic are
monitor. I go,
always live,
I
yeah.
think that we're not getting.
There we go.
Yeah, now we're going.
No, I
Look at
pressed
that
this.
stance.
I pressed.
You're
Otra vez.
owning it. You're
pressed
standing
it.
kind of like an elf.
Hello, Austin at Bates here. And I know a lot of you are wanting to grow a living Christmas tree, and you want to come out here and get one, and you certainly can, because we still have a bunch. But a lot of people don't know how to go about getting them in and doing it. Plus, I got a good idea for you whenever we do get it in. So let's show you how to do it. Get yourself a dolly. Now, this is a little guy, so it's not too bad. But you might need some help because they can get pretty heavy. All of them have that bought and burlapped bottom, so very heavy plant. And look what we've got set up. We got a galvanized tub. We picked this up from Tractor Supply. It's like 28 inches, so it's a good, perfect size, really. It doesn't have a hole in the bottom, so it's not going to leak water all over the place. Put a little red skirt up underneath it. And now let's dress it up. All right, I got some young, strong muscle here with Owen. So let's sit it in there towards the back. And we got to make sure it's straight. We're going to use pine fines here, okay? This is like a soil conditioner. And we're going to make it look like this thing's been planted. I had this idea the other night, and I was like, I wish my tree looked like it was in the dirt, you know? So we're going to fill it up. Cover up the whole root ball so it looks like you planted it in the dirt. Make sure nothing's showing. So right off the rip, that already looks cooler. It's very good, actually. It holds water pretty well, but like I said earlier, there's no hole in it. So any water you are going to add is going to sit in there. But that's not all the end of the world, really, for a balled and burlap pine. All right, so like I said, that looks cool just in itself. It looks like it's planted in your house. And then you dress it up. Little poinsettias. See how cute these are. They're like picture perfect. So look, you don't even take them out of the pot. You just put it in there with it. Planted. Maybe sprinkle a white in there. And I want to go super tight if I can, as much as we can get in there. Talk about beautiful. This is so
Talk
nice.
about
You
it.
can just take the poinsettias out whenever you do need to water those. They're still in pots. You can just take them right out and pop them right back in. Dress up your Christmas tree however you want. Presents around the bottom. Beautiful. I love this. Think you should do it.
There you go. Bravo.
There you go.
Yay.
Is that a little white pine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Little Eastern white pine.
Oh,
Yep.
there you are.
There it is. It's worth a grow.
There
you have it.
go.
That was my idea.
It's a fantastic idea.
You know, I got to say, I had the idea of putting the Christmas tree in the galvanized pot with the mulch around it, but my wife came up with the idea of dressing up the poinsettias out in front of it. So,
Well, it's a-
shout out, Jilly. You're the one that did that.
It is an awesome demonstration.
I think it's cool. It's like a potted mixed container
Now,
in your house.
I would be inclined to not pull those poinsettias out, but simply just get a little watering can and water them.
yeah, you could do that. I
in
thought about that
place.
later.
So
I just like to water poinsettias really at their root zone, not on their leaves, because Caroline will back me up on this. You water leaves too much, and then what happens? You get these little black
White
leaf
spots.
But
spots.
if you have the right watering can that has a little spout on it, you can put it right in there.
Right on the
and-
soil, yeah.
Yep.
Get
Get it?
Get
Yeah.
its right little spout.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Just right
That's a
on
that's a
there.
This is
teapot.
my
Perfect
hand.
demo,
that's
Josh.
right. Okay.
You look just like a watering can.
Oh.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? He's a chameleon.
That's what we used to do, Austin. I mean, with the number 2 or number 4 wash tub, I'd have to look at the bottom. It'll tell you what the size is. But those things are great.
I'm
to
not
have
sure
around
which
the
one
house.
is bigger.
I think the number 4 is the. I can't remember the old way.
I don't know which way the numeration.
But those are great to have around the house. They're universal. They're great ice chests or ice coolers at a party
Ah, yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and if you have an extended power outage, you can get a washboard and you can
wash your clothes.
That's right.
Wash 'em.
scrub.
Yeah, they're nice to have.
You can do a lot with them.
Well, thank you, Austin. That was another.
They have handles too,
spectacular
so you just pick the whole thing up and just take it outside
Yeah.
at the end.
Isn't that how they carried it out, Austin, when they sold it?
Yeah, we just literally picked it up and put it on a cart and took it out.
Yep.
And you know, a good thing to do is after you're done with the Christmas season and you're ready to plant that white pine, take it out and plant it, and then use the pine fines as mulch at the end to mulch it.
Yep.
You've already got it.
Tumultuous.
That's right.
Yeah. What does our
Tyler's doing
label
it.
say?
If you have a little
Look at this. I have
one,
a scale model for. No, I'm kidding. This is great for table dressing.
Yes.
We haven't filmed this yet, but they made one with a Norfolk Island pine in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Small cyclamen and poinsettia, little small ones around. Put fine pines in
So-
it, put it on your table.
so that's like an HO scale. If it was like it's.
What, is that an H or an I?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I think the one we used was 28 gallon, right, Austin? This is 1.5.
Yeah, I think it said 28. Yeah, 28 gallon. Yeah, that's right. Mhm.
Yeah.
That was as big as they sold, right, Tyler?
That was the biggest.
I would say for 90% plus applications, that's sufficiently large.
Yes.
I'll tell you this: I don't want
To pick it up.
people to even have to deal with something that's bigger than that. That's the biggest single thing that works against a living Christmas tree is the actual weight of getting that in. So it takes a couple of individuals that have good lifting skills and are
Yes.
good health. Because they are not light. Now, the other thing that we'll go ahead and touch on now, we're only just now approaching the time when you can safely begin to bring one in. We're, what are we, 11 or 9 days
9
out?
days, yeah.
9 days out
Yeah.
now. So you can do that now. And if you had the temperature close to what it is in the green room this morning,
Yes.
you would be able to
that was
keep
a burn on me.
you would catch that. No, but no one would have known had you not mentioned it. It was just keeping the temperatures cool in the room where you are displaying your living tree is a key element into having success in getting it to be able to survive that venture indoors and then get to move back outside after the Christmas season is over. You only want it in there a maximum of about 10 days. So
Yep. And
get it in there today, get it out right after Christmas,
Yep.
and you need to transition to a garage area particularly if the weather is looking somewhat more severe. Now, it's not unusual for right after Christmas for things to begin to get colder.
Absolutely.
Once again, we're going to have a little touch of that this week, as I talked about in the forecast, but only down in the 20s. If you know where you're going to plant it, it's also a really good idea. Get up there, dig the hole now.
Yes.
If the ground should happen to be exceedingly wet, or it could possibly even be frozen, get that done now, and then put it in a wheelbarrow or cover it with a tarp where that you keep the soil relatively dry, and then it's easy to plant whenever you get the opportunity.
Yeah, and don't be tempted to put the living tree over by the fireplace. No,
Not if you're gonna have a fire.
no.
I mean, you may have a fire that
Turn the TV on. Put the fireplace
Yeah,
on the TV.
you may have a fire that goes beyond the intended
No.
area, and we don't want that for sure.
They're high in sap as well. So
Yes.
I mean, the pine burns very well in a fireplace. You shouldn't, but
Kathy asked, do you take the wire and burlap off the tree when you plant the tree outside?
Good
No.
question.
That's a great question, a really relevant question. And no, you don't. You can take the metal off if you want. That's kind of hard to do, not going to lie.
I just don't even recommend it
No.
because the chances of breaking that root ball up, it will take that tree probably 30 to 40 years before the roots get big enough to where they're going to get stretched at all within the grid, that 4-inch grid pattern on the
little
basket that's on
aluminum
there.
wire,
And
yeah.
by that time, that wire has already decomposed where it's just going to pop it. So, it's not going to. I have never seen a single tree ever become girdle due to a wire basket.
but
No.
the rope up around the top of the tree at the
If it is a treated material,
Right.
now if it's just like twine that'll rot away, you don't really have to worry about it.
But the plastic stuff.
But if anything that's a plastic polypropylene type material, you got to cut that away after you get it in the ground. Though, don't do it until you get it at its last spot.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing actually to watch a balled and burlap plant. Whenever what we call it is B&B drop-ins, and that's whenever you take a balled and burlap plant and the growers put it in a pot for us. It looks better on the lot, and you put soil conditioner around it, kind of like I did with that Christmas tree, just to make it look better, make it a little bit easier to handle it when it's in a pot. But if we keep those for a long time and they don't sell, you can pull those out and you'll be amazed at how many roots come right through that root ball.
Wow.
And they just push right through it. I mean, roots are incredible. They really, really are. And they go right through that burlap without having to do anything, really.
No
It's just-
problem at all.
Yep, put it right in the dirt.
Yep. All right. I bet you we have other questions.
Oh, we do.
It's time for Caroline to shine.
Let's
Bring it
start
on, girl.
strong. Can I have an indoor hydrangea? That's our first one. You can.
You can have an
You
indoor
can.
anything.
You can have an indoor anything. That's
but
right.
should you? I don't know. I mean, right now, like if you bought a hydrangea, it wouldn't have any leaves on it, and it would just be dormant inside the house. And then if you put it inside the house and it got those warm temperatures and you gave it enough sunlight, it would probably want to throw leaves. I doubt it would bloom inside over the wintertime for you because, what's the point of a hydrangea if it's not blooming, really? I mean, just to have leaves is, I don't know. Why do you want to grow an indoor hydrangea? This is
Maybe it's just a
I have a
project just
question.
to do it.
Well, if it's a fun experiment, I'm all about that. And if you do it, let me know what happens.
He just said dude.
I did it again.
I heard him say that.
Thank you for pointing that out. But yes,
Again.
if you want to try and you want to do it, please do it, and then you document it. Let me see what happens. I want to see. Like I said, you can grow anything inside. I mean, all of the indoor plants that Caroline sells and grows is like from South America or Brazil, whatever, and they're tropical plants, and we bring those
Madagascar.
inside into our Middle Tennessee homes, and they can live. So, why wouldn't a hydrangea live inside? Is it going to live pretty?
Is it going to live pretty? That's a good question.
That was my question.
Well,
I don't know if it's going to live pretty.
living and living pretty are two different things. But if you want to give your plants the best opportunity to live pretty, you want to plant them in Earth Mix Garden
That's
product.
pretty stuff.
That is pretty stuff. And what it does is it gives your plants all of the things that they need and want to have for optimal growing opportunities. Now, Earth Mix does not supply sunlight. So with regard to the hydrangea question we just had, it won't make up for that, but what it will do is it will give you all the other nutrients that the plants need to do their very best, whether it's endo and ecto mycorrhiza fungi, humic acid, all the organic composition of the soil, Earth Mix Garden Products provides you the very best in all those things. So that really all you got to do is dig a hole, put the Earth Mix in with your soil,
Yes.
backfill it, water it thoroughly, and let the sunshine take
Yes.
care of it. You know, it really takes the guesswork, it takes the headaches out of it, and it gives you a much higher assurity of having success in your garden. And best of all, it's 100% organic. So no matter what you're trying to grow, be it indoors or out, be it ornamental or be it a vegetable or fruiting plants, there's an Earth Mix products for you. Check them out all around the area at findearthmix.com. Go to earthmix.net, click on the Find Earth Mix tab, and once you're there, it will take you into the it will actually zoom in. I've already checked this. There we go. It just takes it a moment. All around Tennessee, Kentucky, up into the northern Alabama. Check that out, Rudy's Nursery, right there in Huntsville, or actually
Killen.
which is like a suburb of Huntsville.
I'm sure they're making a killing over there.
They're killing
it.
Yeah. So anyway, check it out. You can either go zoom into a direct location, or you can put in the search bar your own address and get turn-by-turn directions to the location nearest you. And just remember this, success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix Garden Products, and we appreciate you giving us a moment to discuss that with you, help you to have success in your gardening efforts.
And if you live next to a nursery that doesn't have Earth Mix, tell them to get it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep.
Also, we have a really good freight carrier now that we can send Earth Mix to quite a few places across the country. So if you, like one guess in Miami, if you want to send Earth Mix to Miami, we could possibly do that for you.
We actually have done that already.
That's
have
what
we
I
not?
meant. And also,
You need it in Dade County
it,
because
Idaho?
You're gonna,
or Montana.
Montana.
Yep. We got it.
Wow.
Very cool. But yeah, you need it down there in Dade County because I mean you're going to dig down 2 inches and you're going to hit the coral. So I mean, trust me,
Could
I know this
happen.
with personal experience. It's tough to do. So I mean, it's good stuff.
So there you go. So
Right.
check it out. And thank you for giving us a moment to
Teresa
discuss
Olson can get
that.
it in Oklahoma. So she's watching from Oklahoma this morning. So good morning from where the wind comes sweeping down the plain.
Boy,
Thanks for watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All right, let's get some more questions in. We got one that Adam Chapman, I'm sure, would love to talk about serviceberry, one of his favorite things to grow. What is the best location to plant a serviceberry around the yard or home?
Well, serviceberry is a naturally small growing tree as trees go. So, I mean, you could expect probably 20 foot, 25 foot out of a serviceberry. So know that the height is going to get there. Serviceberry is a naturally bushy kind of tree as well. It kind of sends sucker sprouts, so it's rarely grown as a single stem to a round canopy style tree. It's not typically like that. It's much more bushy, kind of similar to like a deciduous magnolia or something. So for a good part of its life, it looks more like a shrub or a bush, and then it starts getting big enough to where you would probably call it a tree. So if you want to put it close to the home, just know that you can, but bring it out a little bit, give it some room. You could expect, 10, 12 foot wide eventually. For me, I'm just going to put it out in the yard. I don't really think I want to
Stick it
put
in the yard.
too close to the home. The thing about a serviceberry to me is it's not the prettiest tree on the planet, okay? It is pretty when it's in bloom. It's got little tiny white blooms, but for the most part, it's not like just a beautiful tree. It's kind of gangly, kind of so.
But it produces really tasty berries.
Yeah, no,
It does.
What I would suggest,
Really tasty fall color.
what I would suggest to anyone who's serious about one is to commit to pruning it right after you harvest every year and keeping it short, because it will get sufficiently large enough, even if you're a big guy like Adam,
yeah,
where
really.
you have a hard time reaching and picking those berries. So I'm not really into standing on top of a step ladder and trying to pick fruit. It's pretty dangerous. So
Because it says right on there, that's not a step, David.
Yeah.
I don't know why do they put it on there? So they've got a place to put on there. It's not,
Not
a step.
That's
Oh,
gotta be what it is.
I think that's a great point, though. Keeping it looking more like a shrub.
Yeah.
By pruning it right after you collect the fruit. That's a great point.
And that way it stays within reach.
It
And
does.
and you really minimize the chance that you're going to have some kind of injury as a result of going way up a ladder. You're going to probably still have to have a maybe a 6 foot or a 4 foot step ladder, but certainly the closer to the ground you are, the less likely
You're going to fall.
well, yeah, and the injury that might result
Yes.
from it. So don't get hurt.
Yeah, and another great thing is that when you keep it small like that, you produce a lot more stems. Okay, with every cut, you're going to get at least 2 new stems from that, if not 4. A lot of times that happens. So what does that mean? More sticks means more blooms, means more fruit. So
Right,
keep
and,
it in check.
And if you're having trouble with maybe birds or that
Birds.
kind of thing, you can net it a whole lot easier and keep them off.
Because birds love serviceberry.
They
Yes,
do
they
indeed.
do.
Yep. All right.
Okay. My son-in-law and daughter planted winter rye so that bare patches in their lawn will not erode over the winter. Should they have planted fescue also so that they would have grass next summer? Is it too late to add fescue now?
Boy, there's a lot of questions there.
It's a loaded
Compound.
question.
Okay, yes.
Number
and
one,
no, right?
my vote would be ryegrass is great, but it's only great right now. It's already too late to plant fescue. There's not enough temperature right now for it to germinate, so it's not going to do anything. But ryegrass can germinate now, so you kind of use it as a last resort. There are mixes sometimes that have a little ryegrass, perhaps 10% with fescue mixed in, which are good for a
Give
late
you a little
fall.
show and get it up.
But what you don't want to, if you're are sowing grass seed in the proper season, that would generally be before the 10th of November.
Right.
If you're going to use fescue, you don't really want there to be ryegrass in there because it competes with it. Now, if you've got an area that's very susceptible to erosion, you've got a problem anyway. It may be an area where that grass seed is not your best bet, or you may need to use some kind of a erosion mat with it when you put it in, or you might need to sod. So the answer to your question is, you've got ryegrass now. That's all you can do now.
Right.
And you will be redoing it come next year because ryegrass will not survive the heat of the summer.
We need to get to the root of the problem and find out where those bears are coming from. And they sit on those spots because they're going to be back.
Those bare spots.
Bare
That's how it's happening.
Thank you, Drew. I stole that
guy.
one from him. So
I got to tell you though, I sure love looking at a yard that's got winter rye planted.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's great. What a great green through the winter.
And I know people who have a beautiful warm season like zoysia or hybrid Bermuda lawns that oversee with ryegrass. I guess they just love cutting grass all year long.
yeah,
So, and you can do that.
I got a neighbor like that.
I'm not into cutting grass that much.
No.
So, there you go.
No, I hate cutting grass. It's not fun at all. I don't really do it.
I love when it's done.
Yeah, I just hate the process. Let's talk garlic, shall we? Can I plant my garlic now? How many hours does it need to chill? I am new to them.
All right, garlic.
We couldn't tell.
I've planted garlic once in the snow.
Yeah.
Like you can plant garlic anytime over the wintertime. It's a,
Now, was that
sounds cold.
intentional? Or
I had to get it
just-
done that day. This was my
Okay.
very first job. I was working minimum wage at a farm at MTSU on their organic vegetable garden, and we decided that we were going to plant garlic, and it was the time to do it. And for some reason, it decided to snow that day, so it was kind of a muddy mess doing that. But just so you know, it was, like I said, it was extremely cold that day, and I still put it in the ground. It's fine with bulbs. They're going to lie dormant until the springtime. So the key is not to plant garlic too early. We had this question a few weeks ago, and that was, he put his garlic in early, and it started to want to sprout because we've had some warmer temps here in the late fall, early winter. And you'll see a little bit of injury if that happens. It's not going to kill your garlic, but you will see some topmost injury. But planting it pretty much now through the rest of the winter is a totally fine practice. Going to come up in the spring and produce. Garlic's a very, very easy crop to grow.
We had somebody that planted it a little early who asked a question. So, yeah, good job waiting.
Austin, where was that facility at? Was it over by the old art barn?
It was at the, I don't know if you're
Is that
familiar
there
with
on Cherry
MTSU.
Lane? Yeah.
No, it was out probably at least 12 minutes from campus. It was at the dairy farm.
Okay.
If you're familiar with that. So
Yes.
that was where the dairy cattle production place was, and then we made a garden. I mean, we literally started that from scratch.
We already had manure on the spot.
Yeah,
so you
we had
didn't
plenty
have
of
to-
that.
Did the cows eat the garlic and then you had garlic milk?
No.
Okay.
Fun. That's a good
Hey,
question, Tyler.
I got a little shout out I need to give here. I got a coffee mug given to me this week a custom-made coffee mug. Says Bates Nursery right there on the front from George Ward. Thank you, George. A wonderful. I'm not actually drinking coffee. I've already had all my coffee today, but I did want to bring that. And George actually makes a number of very artistic-looking things. So if you want to find out how to get in touch with George, then maybe we can put an email address or something in the show notes. But
You can email the show too.
yeah,
And we'll get you his
and
email.
that would be that email address is
gardeninginsideout@gmail.com.
okay.
And
There you go.
Send away.
There's a great show on Max that's called The Great Pottery Throwground. You don't realize how much skill it takes to make this.
Oh,
this
it
is
does.
amazing. That
it
is
really
an art
is.
piece, and getting them from point A to point B, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them that get thrown away.
Oh, yeah.
that just don't make the cut. So anyway, thank you again, George, for that.
Yeah, beautiful.
He actually made me 2 of them. I've got
really?
one of them in my office, and wanted to make sure and show this one off. So thanks again, George.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, that is gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous, let's talk about our own
What's
gardens.
in room with Caroline?
Or let's talk about what's
Sorry.
in room. Thank you,
not,
Tyler.
That's where I thought you were going with that.
I had no idea where I was going. Well, I did, but y'all didn't. Okay, so let's start on the other side. We've got a holly theme on the other side for the holidays. Made that joke yesterday. Went right over
Holly.
Austin's head. He didn't even get it. He stood there
Holidays.
staring at me, and he was like, "What are you even talking about, Caroline?"
The holidays.
The
I get it
holidays.
now. It's
You
a
get
good
it
joke.
now.
It's a
Yep.
good joke.
So it's a good Christmas plant. I mean,
Well, when
you
you get-
see
when you-
holly berries and holly leaves on
They're-
wrapping paper.
they're so
garland.
beautiful.
They are. So that's actually Red Beauty that David was just
Mm-hmm.
showing off. They look like little tiny Christmas trees, and I don't know if you can see the berries on them, but they do have some berries on them. That one's got a nice darker leaf. I mean,
Very
it's pretty
nice.
cute. It looked cute in some planters.
And one thing you need to be mindful of about this particular cultivar is it does require a pollinator. So you need to have like a blue Prince holly, another male blue holly to be able to consistently get berries on them.
And you
So
want those berries,
you
especially
do want
around
them.
this
That's
time
why
of
you're.
year.
I don't know. You might even just. I know you got to have is just one planted somewhere in the area. So buy a small one. I mean, a 1 gallon size is plenty sufficient, and you'll have plenty of berries going forward.
Yes, you will. And then behind David's head, it's kind of eating him a little bit, is an Oakland holly. So that's a large holly. It actually has some berries on it, but they have not turned red yet. So pretty much impossible to see, but it's a large one. It's got a nice shape. Yet another holly because we decided to go wild on that side. And then
All
down
right.
in front, we've got soft touch holly. So a smaller leaf. I know Shannon, who is one of our landscape specialists here, I feel like he loves to use these in an install or at least talk about them all the time. And then down in front, it is not a holly. It's a Catoni aster spelled cotton Easter. So a
With
lot
only
of
one
times-
T, though.
Yep. It's hard to figure out the name from time to time, but that is a lower growing one. And that one does have little red berries and it's got some color to the leaf. So very cute little holiday looking plant. I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't plant any of these in my landscaping, but they have their place for sure. I do have a holly at my house that I'm going to have forever.
I do particularly like the Catoni aster because they have those low arching branches. If you have a wall where they can overhang and you get a good fruit set on them, they're really a striking contrast. So.
Oh yeah, Austin was talking about how they would look good in a holiday hanging basket like he did the juniper. So maybe next year we'll get some longer ones and we can, pot some of those up. All right, so let's talk about this side. Like we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we brought in a lot of holiday plants because we still have quite a few at the nursery, but now's the time to get them. So our amaryllis, most of them that we have right now are in full bloom. They are showing off and they are absolutely stunning. We've got one close to me. It kind of matches my sweatshirt today. That's more of an orange color. This one down in front has got some pink and white. And then the one by Austin's head looks like red velvet. Oh my gosh, look at that.
That's money.
That
That's
is
money.
money.
Still
David,
got some
doesn't
bloom in
Renee
it.
have a lot of amaryllis?
She does indeed,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
she divides them. She just recently has brought them up and out of the basement where they spend quite a bit of time. and there's a lot of buds coming along. I think she most recently had paper whites that she brought up out of there.
Oh,
So,
those
so
have
anyway,
quite
she
a
will
smell to
divide
them.
those. I mean, they get monstrous. So the good thing about a lot of people will buy an amaryllis and then just throw it away. Don't
no.
do that. You can really have some tremendous looking. The only thing is, you either have to divide them or you have to keep going to ever larger containers. So it's a great opportunity to have gifts for friends to be able to
Yes.
give away, that kind of thing. So they're not an inexpensive bulb, to be sure, but they are a gift that keeps on giving.
Yes,
that
they
that
are.
white one right there in the middle is so tiny and short.
It
Is that just a
is.
particular variety of that one? Because
I
they're
think
usually
it
a
just
little bit
came
more
up
leg-
that way.
Okay.
The leaves are also. I mean, I'm gonna pull it up.
Okay.
Do you see
See,
the
it's a-
leaves on that?
Oh wow.
Wow.
That is a very short stem.
It's kind of like my
flower.
daffodils that came up this year and my tulips that were all super short. But then we also have poinsettias on this side because we have to bring those in. And David was just talking about how amaryllis is not a throwaway plant just because it's usually around during the holidays. Same goes for poinsettias. My mom has had one for years. Austin had one for a really long time. So you can keep them year after year. We actually did a video on poinsettia care. So if you're wondering how to care for them, you can check that out. And then down in front, we've got candy cane kalanchoe or kalanchoe, however you'd like to say it.
I'm a Kalanchoe guy.
I'm a kalanchoe kind of gal. And then all the way down in front, we've got Christmas cactus, red and white, that are in full bloom right now. Another great plant that is not a throwaway plant. I've had one for years and years that blooms every single year, not a true cactus. So keep it out of direct sunlight and water it more often than you would a true cactus. But that is the tour for today, y'all.
Coolness.
All right.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
Very nice.
All right, now let's get to this question. Where is it? I love it. Where do y'all get inspiration for your gardens? I don't know. I just walk around and look at plants and say, that would look cool in my yard, and I want to see how it does.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, we work at a massive nursery. Like, our inspiration typically comes from here whenever we see a plant that we're just like,
It
I gotta have
arrives.
that.
It arrives on trucks every day.
That's right.
You know, and that's really, that's kind of the most fun thing that the activity is when trucks come in, particularly from Monrovia or Isley, where they have a lot of really cool, interesting plants on them, but those are certainly not the only ones. It's when you see things in plants that are grown well, or perhaps something that's a little different, a little new, something you haven't seen before, you start thinking, where have I got a spot I could use that?
And us as gardeners never stop looking at spots
Right.
in our gardens. There's always a hole somewhere. You're always thinking about, what can I put in there? What I constantly do.
What
it.
could I take out and put?
Yeah.
That's what I do. I take stuff out and move them around.
It's okay to steal an idea from somebody else
Absolutely.
too. You
It's
do
not
not have to
stealing.
get-
It's borrowing.
That's
okay,
right.
yeah.
It's inspiration,
Yes.
Josh. It's not stealing.
There you go.
I mean, I love a good gardening catalog. It's not a catalog. It's a magazine to look at and get
Magazine.
inspiration.
We start
from.
getting those through the wintertime. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
get
yeah.
those old school magazines too from old Burgess Seed Company, you know, all those. And they start coming in through the winter whenever we're getting all antsy plancy. And we're like, we need something. Yeah.
Marlboro Bulb Company has a beautiful catalog as well. So.
Oh, don't even look at bulb catalogs. You will be buying, you just won't even. I mean, when you start looking at beautiful bulb pictures, you're like, okay, yep, I'm getting a packet of 50 of those.
You're going to spend all your money.
You
on it.
will. I do sometimes. No, I don't. I'm pretty cheap, actually.
My little indulgent gardening self-care is to go at around this time of year to Barnes & Noble and get myself a little coffee, maybe a little treat. And I go to the magazine section. I look at Garden Gate. I look at Fine Gardening. I just
Southern Living.
Southern living.
yeah, Southern Living. I just plow through all those magazines while enjoying a nice afternoon at the bookstore. And that is just really lovely. And, you know, bring a notebook so you can note species, or I snap some photos with my phone. Try not to do a lot of that. You know,
Hey, you know, another
take
place
the
you-
magazine home if you like it.
Another place you can snap photos and is Bates Nursery and Garden.
That's
That's
right.
the
Where
most
we are right
inspiring
now.
place on the planet.
And
right
if you're looking for a place that is a true year-round garden facility, this is the spot right here. Come on out and see us. We have what my friend Steve Searles, he got a good laugh out of when I referred to it as the Batestrium.
Yes.
and that is so named by the. I'm not sure who coined that phrase on the staff, but somebody came out with that one. And
It was
anyway-
me. I'm just going to say it.
Okay. Anyway, so Steve took delight in that, and anyway, it's a description of this entire covered area that we have. From the front checkout area all the way to the very back of the greenhouse. That entire area is full of plants now. So the things that are normally outside are now inside. Now there are a few things that are still outdoors. Our shade trees and our big conifers are still outdoors, and they will remain so. But everything else has been moved inside. So if the weather's not wonderful, it doesn't really matter. Come on out and shop, and you'll be in the comparatively controlled conditions of our connected structure.
The wind will be blocked.
The window we blocked,
yes.
and it won't be as cold as
Nope.
it is outside. And what you'll receive is the opportunity to browse at your convenience, take photographs, and a good thing to do if you're trying to do research on plants is photograph the tag. Most of these tags have very great informational tags. We ask that you not pull the tag.
Please.
Take photographs all you like. Many of them have QR codes on them that will give you additional information. So they're quite beneficial. And of course, the greatest source of information at Bates Nursery is the staff that we have here. And I really believe that's what actually is the biggest separation from what we do and from what is done elsewhere, is that we have a staff of individuals who are year-round, full-out horticulturalists. And the amount of enthusiasm that you see Austin display is, well, not everybody is that enthusiastic, but
He's quite infectious, though. Yeah.
but we have a lot of people. Every single person here is an avid gardener, and we all have our pet plants or things we like, but we're all able to help. So we invite you to come out, take photographs of your area you're working on, bring those along, and we'll help you to get the right plants in the right place the first time. And right now, if you're a Bates Rewards member and you know who you are,
I am.
you're getting 20% off all your plants, the exception of tropical plants and Japanese maples, but everything else, 20% off, and all bagged earth mix.
All of it?
All of it.
Oh, wow.
Every different earth mix product, all 20% off. So it's a great time to come out, stock up, and get those last minute gardening things taken care of before the Christmas holiday arrives. Bates Nursery and Garden Center on Nashville Tradition. Since 1932, we're conveniently located 1 mile north of Briley Parkway at exit 19 on Whites Creek Pike. That's just minutes from Rivergate, Opry Mills, Nashville West, downtown Nashville. And this, I promise you, is worth the drive no matter where you're coming from, even Smyrna, Josh.
Yes, it is.
So come out and see us. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
Don't forget your gift cards. You can do them electronically.
Yep.
And by the way, if you happen to walk around the nursery, I saw a little secret area over there by the garden center. It's got wind chimes and spinners and stuff in it. There's an extra little
Severe
seal.
markdowns.
Oh my goodness, what a place for some stocking stuffers. But
So hey, come on out and see us and get your, get those gardening things done for the gardener in your life. We make it easy to buy for
Yeah.
them because the gift cards, one size indeed does fit all.
that can be delivered electronically, I believe, as well.
Absolutely.
That's
So
right.
you can actually go to batesnursery.com and do that without having to make the trip out. Of course, we'd love to have you
Yes.
physically come out, but you can do those online. And one thing I did not mention is that love to have you subscribe to my weekly newsletter. And you can do that at batesnursery.com as well, or do that, sign up when you come out. So come see us, Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Colin's got a question related to amaryllis. You just leave it in the pot all year. Can amaryllis grow outside here in Zone 7B?
Mine do. I
Yeah,
bring them
but
in
you
in the
know-
wintertime, though. So, I mean, I bring them in all winter, put them in the basement.
Yeah, I bring mine in too.
Yeah.
I know there are some hardy ones.
There's Lycoris that looks a lot like amaryllis that definitely perennializes
Are there not
here.
some hybrids like cross between those, Austin, or am I just imagining that?
There may be. I know they're in the same family. They have a different species. They're both Amaryllidaceae, which is the family that they're in. So I would
Right.
assume they could probably cross. I don't know of that yet, though. I have not seen it, but if you want the amaryllis look, you can go with what's the common name? I'm blanking for surprise lilies.
Yes.
That's what they are.
yeah.
Is Lycoris, and they come up looking a lot like
They
amaryllis.
do look a little bit like amaryllis, yeah. They
Yeah,
look
they do.
wild.
They're very tall and they come up with
Okay.
no foliage out of the ground, hence the surprise.
Yeah,
They just pop up, and they're kind of random. Well, they're not random when they pop up, but it's a weird time of year that I can't think of.
Well, they come out green first, and then as the summer draws on, they lose their foliage, and then after that, a stalk just surprises you with four.
says, "Hey."
Four.
I have
Here
seen
I
people passed out in the yard because they were like the fainting goats of gardeners.
Yeah.
They get surprised by a lily and it just
Oh my
puts them
gosh.
out. Is she okay? Oh yeah, she's fine. She just got surprised by the lilies.
Yeah.
Surprised by flowers, it happens.
I've got a couple of things here on the Facebook page. Joan is wondering if we have do garden centers ever sell mistletoe? She says she's never seen it anywhere but in the wild. Now I've seen it in places. It's usually in a little small packet,
Yeah.
but just enough to hang up over the doorway.
Yep.
Yep. I don't think we have had any this season, have we?
No.
No.
You know, it's one of those things that in order to get it, you kind of have to go out and collect it.
Right.
Yeah.
And anybody
And it's
who's
up
ever
high.
collected mistletoe is you tend to either get nothing or way too much.
Way too much.
So
You need one of those electronic. They've got a laser sighted.
Just to
it's
be
a
able to-
slingshot now. Oh yeah, man! Supposedly, I've got one of those. Shoot it
Yeah.
out of the top of the tree.
Or you can come to my house after a windstorm because I have it all in my. I can't remember the trees off the top of my head. Why am I? Oh, my hickory trees. They're all on the top of them. And if we get a big storm, my yard has a lot of mistletoe in it. So
And Jude has got a. She's making a comment about the toxicity of poinsettia and fur babies.
yeah, you do want to
It's
keep them away
legit.
from your pants. Your pants
I definitely would.
from your pets. Whoa, because they're not severely toxic, but they are pretty toxic to pets, especially if they eat the whole thing or munch
Right.
on it a little bit.
Now, how many times have you ever known that to happen? I don't ever remember it.
But they do
happening.
like to chew. Kitties do. Kitties in
Yeah,
particular.
they'll attack
do.
it. But leaves are fun. So.
But poinsettias are a type of euphorbia, which is kind of weird. But euphorbia a lot of times looks like cactus, even though it's really not.
See, cats misread that. They think it says euphoria.
yeah.
Right.
Yes, that's what it is.
Well, but
They
the
get
thing
it
about
wrong.
euphorbia across the whole board is that whenever you break a leaf, a stem, whatever part you open, it's going to
Milky.
send out this milky latex
Yeah.
substance that typically animals don't really like in their mouth. It's kind of like glue almost, like white Elmer's glue.
I think
comes out.
that
Yeah, it gets sticky.
that keeps them from getting a lethal dose.
Right.
generally.
Typically,
you
yes.
go, "Gah."
But they'll yak all over them.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
will do that.
Now, in that vein, mistletoe is also toxic, isn't it, Austin?
Not that I know. I don't know of it being toxic.
It
It's a-
actually is, but you know what? Almost every. I mean, there are all kinds of things that are
That are
toxic.
toxic, yeah.
All taxes, all use are toxic. Now, conversely, there also are chemicals, drugs made from it to treat cancer.
Right.
So, you know, what is toxic? I don't know anybody who's ever eaten an entire ewe.
It'd be hard to do.
I have heard of cattle getting over and grazing into them and getting enough of a dose to kill them or make them very sick. But I would just, if you don't know, well, don't go
Don't eat
around
it,
chewing on
yeah.
your shrubbery, you know, until you find out. I would not do that.
No.
There are a lot of poisonous plants out there.
Yeah, you know, fun fact about all parts of a tomato plant are poisonous except the fruit.
Right.
Isn't that cool? So don't
That
eat
is
your
cool.
leaves. Just
Don't
eat
do
the
it.
fruit.
Just smell them. Don't eat them.
And it wouldn't kill you, but it'd probably make you yak.
Make you not feel
like Josh
good.
would say.
Okay, let's get to some more questions before we run out of time. In
Okay.
planning mode for my garden, any cool trellis ideas for honeysuckle and clematis? I have one. It's actually for my Carolina jessamine. I have driftwood that I put together and put up pretty tall. So it looks like a tree or like an old vine, and then it grows in and out of them. And
Hey,
I
that's a good
love
idea.
it.
I like that idea. That's cool. You know, when it comes to trellising, y'all, get creative. I mean, there's no bad way to do it. All you have to do is get something up to where that plant can climb on it. So, like Caroline said, she used driftwood. Great idea. That's cool. I've got clematis, and I use this metal fencing, kind of like a cattle panel, if you will, but it's a little bit more like streamlined. It looks kind of cooler than just like a regular old cattle panel. And I've got it up against my brick wall. It works totally fine that way as well. There's no bad way to trellis. You just, like I said, get creative and do
And
something.
the thing about trellising is no matter what you use to as a support, if what you're growing on it does well as you're expected to, you're not going to see the trellis pretty quickly. It's going to get covered.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right.
But that would inform the shape of whatever's growing on it, right?
To some degree, but
Like if you had an arbor that was curved,
Well,
then
here's a trick. When you go to get your wash tub to put your living Christmas tree, go over to the hardware cloth section at TSC. They have it in different colors. They've got it in black. They've got it in 2 feet wide, 3 feet wide, and 4 feet wide. You can make all kinds of shapes with that as well, and it's easy to cut.
well, there you go.
Zip ties holding it to you. Hey, man. Get the zip ties there too.
There's a lot of things you can do to trellis. Like Austin said, as long as it's something that a plant can grow up, you could use anything. Okay, suggestions for easy care houseplants for gifts. This is a fantastic question. So my number one suggestion, which it sounds boring, but stay with me, is Sansevieria, mother-in-law tongue, or snake plant. That's a couple different names. There are so many different varieties that we have here at the nursery that are really, really cool. We've got one called whale fin that the leaves themselves get up to like 4 feet tall. And they'll be like this wide. I'm bad with measurements, but they're really, really cool. It literally looks like a whale fin, and it's huge, and you don't see it often. We have a lot of different varieties of that. That one is really, really easy to care for. It's very low maintenance and also versatile when it comes to lighting. So if you're giving a plant and you don't know if it's going to be in a spot that gets ample sunlight or in a darker corner, this one would be a really good gift to give because people can put it pretty much anywhere as long as there is some sunlight. And then my second suggestion would be Aglaonema, which is a variegated leaf. It's got a lot of different colors, usually pink and red. But that's also another one that can handle low to high light. You wouldn't think that, but it can. I have one that doesn't get much light at all, and it can sit dry, and it's also really pretty. So if somebody wants a little bit of color in their life, is Josh whispering over
yes.
there?
We're communicating between each other.
It was just distracting.
Okay,
And
so
I did
didn't know
throw,
what was going
I did
on.
throw
No,
a few
keep going.
examples of the Sansevieria
Oh, yeah,
up
let's
on
look
the
at
screen.
that.
Oh, wow.
There is the whale fin right there in the bottom, or that one's also called shark fin. It's a little bit smaller.
That's the one
bottom
down
right.
here.
Bottom
yeah.
right.
That one is one of my favorites. I bought one about a year ago, and it grows really fast. It was just one leaf in the pot, and now it has 6. And it has filled out that pot really fast. And then my last suggestion would be a euphorbia type cacti, like we talked about a little bit before.
And if you're a cat
Same as
listening,
poinsettia.
that's euphorbia.
Euphorbia.
That's
not
right.
euphoria.
Do not eat it. It's a very low maintenance cactus that can actually handle little less sun than true cactus. And I love them so much. So
Nice. Hey,
those
while we're
those
on
are
the
3.
houseplant topic, Tyler, throw up that picture.
All right.
I had to
Okay.
text Caroline last night this picture because I could not remember for the life of me what the variety name of this plant was. It was gifted to me by a couple regulars that come out and see me.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Tyler.
What?
He's having a hard time getting to it.
Oh, no.
Tyler.
I had it queued
He
up,
did-
man.
He did have it.
He did. I saw it.
There it
There it
is.
is.
There
Okay.
it is.
Where?
Where?
I don't see
Okay,
it.
oh, wait, it's coming right
It's right behind your
there.
ears.
Oh.
So that was a type of philodendron that was gifted to me. It was gifted to me as a cutting that was put in that pot by, like I said, a couple regulars of mine. And that was a very nice gift they gave me. And it didn't even have a leaf. It was just kind of unfurling a leaf whenever I got it. And now it's got 3 massive leaves on it with the beautiful white striping down the
Yes.
veins. Caroline, what's it called
I
again?
was about to ask you, do you remember what it's called?
No.
It's a philodendron gloriosum. Creeping
Gloriosum.
velvet philodendron is its common name.
It does have quite a velvety foliage to it.
It
doesn't
does.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And I have to say, I know that Austin does not have good light in his house. So this plant is not receiving a lot of sunlight, hence why those stems are so long. And I think why the leaves are so big. We've got some in the greenhouse right now that get ample sunlight. It's indirect, which is what's good for most philodendron. But the leaves are really small, and the leaves are also more of a lighter color. It's not a bad thing, but Austin's leaves are giant and
and they'll,
darker in color.
The stems will be a bit shorter and they'll be stiffer so they don't
Correct.
flop over quite so
Yeah.
much when
Okay.
they're in a brighter light.
I will tell y'all, too, that is the very first houseplant I've ever grown in my whole career that does not have a drain hole in it. It is a water-loving philodendron, from what I've read. And so, yeah, there's no drain hole. I just I had to water it last night, and I put like 3 cups of water in it until it got pretty well saturated, and then I put it back, and then I'll just wait until I have to water it again.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good
While we're here, we
Yeah.
can swap over to. Well, nope, not the sticker.
Not that one.
Got a bunch of surprises here in this
Obviously.
photo area.
But what he said, our good friend Kim Bradley, master
Yes.
gardener, has got a new client that brought this particular plant that we're looking for back from Hawaii 40 years ago, David, and she doesn't know what the problem is and needs some help. It's called an umbrella plant, umbrella tree.
Umbrella tree.
Oh, yeah.
Schefflera.
Schefflera.
Did you have a picture of it?
Yes, I do.
They're coming
I'm
up.
fumbling with it right now.
Tyler, you're doing great. Oh,
Okay.
Looks like it's got some thrips going on to
it
me.
does. It looks like it's got some kind of pest.
Okay.
That thing needs to be chopped.
Yeah,
I would also wonder when the last time it was repotted
repotted,
would have
yeah.
been. Yeah.
You know,
They've
as a-
had it for that long.
probably a really good idea to cut everything back off
Yes.
to hard stems. If you're not repotted, give it some nutrition. Give it some, and get it in light. Scheffleras are not low light plants; they are full sun plants. When you see them in the tropics, they are trees. They're massive
Yes, they're
trees.
gorgeous.
And they're always in the full sun. So having them in anything less than that, they really don't do all that well. So I mean, obviously you've gotten through 40 years with it, and
Well,
that's-
it looks
that's-
like it's right up against the wall in the house too. If you look at the picture
Yep.
there, so
Yeah.
get in near the window, Kim.
Well, and like we talked about with Austin's philodendron, there's all that. The stems are longer, which it looks like the same on that Schefflera because
Reaching.
it's not getting a ton of light. It's reaching, so
It looks wet to me, too. Looks like it's sitting wet.
You can't really tell because there's pumice.
well, you
No, I don't look at the
top.
dirt.
You
I
look
look
at-
at the
look-
foliage.
Look at the top of that stem right there where it was cut. It just has that look to it that looks like it could. It's not rotting, but it looks like it could.
yeah.
Yes.
Just that foliage to me looks off because
does.
of probably too much water. Oof.
And if it doesn't have drain holes in it, obviously it's really tough to keep it from being overwatered,
It's got lava
particularly
rock on
during the
top,
winter
you're right.
months. So
Very good.
Yep.
All right.
Hope
Watering
that helps,
houseplants
Kim.
can be tricky.
Hope that helps.
Well,
What? Well,
What, Tyler?
I said, well,
well,
we're going to just
brings
wait
us to the end.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
And we want to thank everyone for tuning in today and giving us a listen. If you got questions, of course, you can always reach out to us. Gardening Inside Out, we are on multiple social connections. We also have email that you can do directly to us to get questions. If you want to get all that, subscribe to my newsletter and
Yep.
you can get all the connections right there, or you can go to Gardening Inside Out right here on YouTube or
Got
on
a-
Facebook. Or,
Podcast version drops
Yep.
every Wednesday, where we have little extra anecdotes about the previous week's episode. So check that out too.
very, very, very. Kim said she got the message, and thanks so much. So,
All
hey,
right.
it is a service-oriented business that we provide here
Absolutely.
on Gardening Inside Out. Hey, we do it for you guys because we appreciate you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center next Saturday.